And so I'll share the video with us. I'll share the video with us on the platform. So we'll have all the resources, both the video and then even the PowerPoint presentation that was used in the training. So Jen, I'll share it. Okay.
Okay, please. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so as we did last week, we are going to do same today too. So as you even heard Regina, today is the first time joining. And so we are going to go back into our breakout groups, and then we'll engage, interact, probably might meet new people in there, so maybe you met some people last week, you might meet new people, so when you get into the breakout groups, and this is what I want you guys to do. One person should come up as a leader. Do you understand? And then, take charge of the room and say, okay, my name is this, that. I'm from here, and you say things you want to say about yourself. You can tell them about your favorite food, if even you are looking for a job, you can mention it. If you are working somewhere, you can just, we just have to network and socialize. And so we'll get into the breakout room. One person should start the conversation and then the other should join. So, okay, my name is this, then you can mention, okay, so Janet or Jennifer, tell us about yourself, or, Regina, tell us about yourself, so let's get to know each other, because, if it was an in-person training, yes, we would have seen each other, because if it's in person, we'll all be around during, coffee breaks and all that. We'll be able to chat and get to know each other. But online sometimes, because it's not in person, and we don't also ask everyone to turn on their videos because it might take a lot of bandwidth. So, most people join online meetings and they don't even get to know who is at the other end. Do you understand? But we want you to have the privilege of an in-person training. So I'm going to break this into smaller groups. Let's go in there and network. Let's go in there and socialize. Okay, I hope that is a good idea.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay, so you see something pop up on your screen. Just click on join, and then it will take you to the room.
Recorded.
Okay. It looks like almost everyone is back. Yeah, so how was the experience? Who would like to share? How did you go? Did you get to meet someone new? Kindly share with me, share the experience with me. How did it go? Was the time enough or it was too short? Who's going to share? How did it go? Who met someone new today? Okay, Stella, share.
Okay, I met Abdullah. Yeah.
Okay.
He's a Nigerian student, and we were actually enjoying this network. The time was limited. Yeah,
It
was too
limited.
small.
Okay.
We will learn about our favorite food, our biggest fear, our philosophy in this life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We enjoyed it.
Okay. I'm excited you guys did. And
Yeah, thank you.
you're welcome. Okay, any other person, one more person, then we'll get into today's business. One more person. Who did you meet? How was it? Who else is going to share? So I see Doreen. Doreen, would you want to share? Doreen, AJ, would you want to share? Oh, Regina, would you want to share how it went, your experience, and the breakout group for the socialization?
Okay, so
So for my group, we didn't know who to start first.
Okay.
So the time was really limited for us. So we were only able to introduce ourselves.
Okay. Okay, good. Thanks for sharing, Regina. Okay, Doreen, yeah, you muted yourself. Please share.
okay, for me, I had network issues, so I wasn't able to
Okay.
actually know them well.
Okay, that's fine. And so yeah, I get it. Sometimes when
I think.
okay.
Yeah, I haven't HS here and there.
Oh, so sorry.
Yeah.
So most of the times when you have some sanguines in the group, I think it makes it exciting because most of the times we want to start a conversation, but if it's all probably all males and all flex, you might have everyone keeping quiet, but as I mentioned earlier, when we break us into smaller breakout groups, someone should take the leadership role and start a conversation. You can start talking about, the issue, that if it's an issue we have to discuss, because as I mentioned from the beginning, it is not just a platform for us to just acquire, like we are just here to just listen, but it's a platform for us to acquire skills. Do you understand? So that's why we encourage the smaller breakout groups, so if those who on the call us, we realize we went into breakout groups, I think 2 or 3 times, because we want you to really practicalize and, experience what we are talking about and not just to listen to it. So please, if we, kind of like break out the groups into smaller groups, kindly participate, be involved, share your ideas because it might help the other party, and so please, I encourage all of us to do so. So today we are talking about negotiation. And so in today's content, we're looking at what negotiations are, why is negotiations important, the types, principles, things to do before you get into negotiations, and steps to the negotiation process, and then some tactics. The truth of the matter is that let's look at this. Okay, so the learning objectives at the end of the training, participants to be able to develop a win-win alternatives, go into a negotiation prepared, develop WAP, ZUPA, all these things, we are going to look at it. Now, everything is negotiable. That is life. In life, everything we do, we negotiate. Like, it's part of our daily activity. Do you understand? When you're going to look for a job and then it gets the salary, yeah, in our part of the world, it depends on the type of job. If you really need a job, sometimes you don't even negotiate the terms and conditions as to the compensation and the benefit, because in your mind, I need this job. But in this training, you will come up with certain things that will help you, when even you are going in for a job, and then there are terms and conditions, and most of the time people are even scared of saying that, hey, I don't think I will take this job. I don't think I'll take it because the money is too small, the benefits are not good, and all that. Most people don't do it, because the truth of the matter is that they need jobs, and so they will take anything that comes their way. But we are going to see how you can negotiate, in situations like that. So when you want to buy, clothes, even you go to Cantamanto and you want to buy clothes, you go through this process. You negotiate, because it's okay, it's 5 cities, okay, I'm not going to pay 5 cities, I'm going to pay this, that. All this. So our daily life is full of negotiations. But also there are some serious things, like if you guys, I don't know if there are some managers on the call, or some business leaders or some entrepreneurs. So you might be an entrepreneur, you would have to engage a client on something. So those ones are kind of like sometimes very formal negotiations. So we are going to learn things that can help us both in the formal and informal negotiations. So whether or not the negotiation is easy is another thing. So we always go through negotiations, but whether it is easy or not, that's another thing to talk about. And then, another quote from Marco says that there are 2 ways to resolve conflict: through violence or through negotiation. So, when there is an issue to be resolved by 2 parties, both parties have interest, it is either they go through negotiations or they go through violence, and that has been happening all across, even in the country. Maybe some people are not happy about certain things. Instead of them going to, let's look at even the trade union, Congress, or those the UTAG and all those guys, so if they are not excited about something, sometimes the government say that let's go to the table, let's sit down and talk through, so sometimes it may be like, no, we are not going to sit down, because when we sit down, nothing comes out of it. So we are going to use the other alternatives, which are probably we are going to demonstrate, we are going to go on strike and all that, So there are 2 ways to resolve it. It's either you go through conflict or you go through negotiations. And most of the times, according to Marcos, violence is for wild beasts, negotiations is for human beings. So if you're a human being, then you get to the table and then you negotiate. Do you understand? And I believe in this training, we'll get to understand some things, and so when you hear that people have gone to the table and then, based on whatever that happened, like they say, okay, we are going to demonstrate, or you are going to go on strike, then you know why they are doing that. You get to understand. Do you understand? And you yourself too, when you get to that point, you know how to go about things. So this class is going to be very interesting and exciting. I don't know if you are excited, but I am already excited about this class. Now, I'll take us back to the breakout groups. We are going to negotiate. This one is just going to be 2 people in a group. So one party will be Amma, one party will be Kofi, and this is the case study. Amma wants a window closed, but Kofi wants it open because the window is closed to him. So, and both of them are in the same office. Now we have to negotiate with your partner and come up with a solution. Do you understand? So 2 people are in the same office, Amma and Kofi. Amma wants us to close the the window. Kofi wants it open. Do you understand? Kofi wants it open, Amma wants it closed. Now, I want you to go into the breakout groups. It's just going to be 2 people in a group. I want you to get into the breakout groups, and then you will negotiate that, okay, what solution can we come up with? We can't fight because it's 2 ways. Either there will be conflict, we fight, or we get to the table and we come up with an alternative that helps us. So let's see some solutions you guys will be able to come up with even before we get into how to resolve issues like this. So I'm going to break all of us into is it clear? If you have any question on this, you can ask before you get into the breakout groups. Is it clear? Okay. So kindly click join and join the breakout group. Kindly click join and join the breakout group. Okay, I think everyone is coming back into the main room. I realized some people were actively, talking, while some groups too, they didn't engage at all. I think I saw one group. I think it was just one group that didn't engage themselves at all. Okay, how was it? Yeah, Damson. Yeah, I realized you were alone, so I had to move you to group one. Group one was really, talking, and so I decided to move you. The other counterpart didn't join. That's why Damson, I moved you. Okay, so who would like to start? What solution did you guys come up with? Who would like to start? Okay, Stella. Stella, go for it. Can you guys hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Stella.
Okay, so I was with Jennifer and we were discussing that. Okay, so when you come to the negotiation table, there has to be some calmness, because if one is
Okay.
angry, obviously the negotiation, you cannot reach an agreement, right?
Yeah.
And negotiation is all about reaching an agreement.
Yeah.
Okay, and it has to have a purpose. Why are we on this table? Why are we on this table?
Okay.
So why are we on this table? I want the window closed, Kofi. I want the window open. So that's why we are here. Okay. And we also said that we have to compromise. Okay. When it comes to the negotiation table, we need to compromise. Like, maybe it will not be what I wanted, but I'm willing to compromise. Like you said, we are not wild animals. We are human beings, so we have to agree on something. So if both parties are willing to compromise and come with an agreement, so that's what we discussed.
Okay, so with the compromise, it means that the end result will be win-lose. Someone will win, someone will lose. So it either will close it or will open it. And so if we decide to close it, then Amma wins. If we decide to open it, then wins.
Yeah. Yes. We may not fully reach an agreement to satisfy both parties, but we should be willing to compromise.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for sharing, Stella.
Thank you,
very
sir.
much for sharing. Who else would want to share? Something that you guys came up with. Who else? I'll be glad to hear other opinions. Yeah,
Okay.
Kenneth, yeah.
So I also had a lady.
Okay.
So it was quite natural for her to be Amma and for me to be
Kofi?
Yes. So we began. She wanted the window to be closed, and I wanted to be opened. So initially, I started and asked her why she wants the window to be closed.
Okay.
And she gave me 2 reasons. She said, first of all, she wants the window to be closed because it will prevent insects from coming inside the room. And then secondly, she thinks there's a fan in the room, and that is good enough for ventilation. And I said, okay, if that is it, then fine. But I believe there's a net to block the insects from coming in. So if there's a net, the window can still be opened.
Okay.
But insects will not come in. So we came to an agreement with that first one. And then secondly, with the ventilation, from my knowledge, I also shared something with her that the fan alone cannot bring about a very good ventilation because it will be only circulating air that is already in the room, and ventilation needs fresh air to enter the room. And she, being a human being and not a wild beast, she agreed that. Yes.
Okay.
And we came to an agreement
That you keep the windows opened.
Open, yes.
Okay, so this one also comes back to the compromise, that kind of like, okay, win-lose agreement. So yes, it was an agreement, but one person won because Kofi wanted it open and Kofi won, and she lost.
Not exactly. She didn't lose.
Because initially she wanted it closed. He said she didn't lose, eh?
Yeah, she didn't lose because the reason why she wanted it closed, she got all those things she wanted.
Okay.
So I still see it as a win.
Okay, that's fine. I accept it. That's fine. I'm excited to hear from your like what you guys discussed too. I don't know if any other groups would like to share. I believe that it would be fun if we all share what went on in our various breakout groups. Then everyone will get to know. Okay, there's one perspective that you guys were looking at the issue from. So where the Kenneth and then the lady, they also even applied what we did last week, asking the why questions. So why, and we are going to see that in today's training, So, and I'll tell you, what they did. So I'm sure they did that, but he doesn't know probably there is a name even for what they did, and I'm going to share that in today's training. Any other group? Any other group? Okay. So if there is no team that wants to share, I think we'll move ahead. But let's have this case study in mind. In this training, our focus on the negotiation is to create a win-win agreement or win-win alternatives, win-win options, that both parties will win. And not necessarily, yes, sometimes the end results will be a win-lose, because someone will have to compromise. And so if the person compromises, it means that they might not get whatever they want, but for the sake of peace, that they are not beasts, but they are humans, they'll just say, okay, we agree, So yeah, I think this sets a very good tone for us to start today's training. So let's get into it. So what is negotiations? According to Investopia, the term negotiation refers to a strategic discussion that resolves an issue in a way that both parties find acceptable. So you realize that we're trying to find solution to a problem that exists between two parties. It can be more than two parties, it can be complex, it can have all other parties involved. But this one, we looked at two parties, two parties like Israel in which country? They are fighting over a land. I'm trying, is it Pakistan also? No, the name was coming, I think it's gone. fighting over some lands and all that. So these are two parties. They have different positions and they are fighting. Instead of probably, I think they go to the table and it doesn't really work, so they resort to violence and all that. But we are saying that negotiation is a strategic discussion that resolves an issue in a way that both parties find acceptable. So, when you go to the table, you should make sure that at the end of the discussion, everyone is satisfied. Everyone's need is met. So I was happy when Kenneth mentioned that, it wasn't a win-lose, but it was a win-win because she also got, what she was interested in. And you see, as we go ahead, I will tell you some other alternatives that could have been considered for the same, situation. And as we did last, week, last week we talked about Missy or Simi, and I told you that you shouldn't close your minds on, certain alternatives or certain solutions. You should be open-minded. You should consider all possible alternatives, all possible options, then you choose the best one. And if you are going to deploy the problem-solving skills in negotiations, in other things that we'll be talking about, you will see that you achieve a lot of great results. So yeah, why is negotiation? So why is negotiation important? Negotiation prevents problems from brewing. Negotiation builds trust and improves relationship. Negotiation improves communication between parties involved. Because if we are going to the table and we are not going to use violence, there'll be trust among us, there'll be good relationship, there'll be good communication, problems will be resolved well, you understand? But if we are not going to resort to negotiations and we are just going to fight one another, we are going to, resort to violence, the problem won't be solved and will damage our relationship. So you should always, whenever you have, an issue to be resolved with another party, you should always resort to negotiations. You should always resort to negotiations, and not violence or conflict. You should always resort to negotiations. So there are some types of negotiations, and then we'll look at some of the things you shared. So we have the... Oh, really? Someone says we are still looking at the case between... Oh, can't see what is... Oh, so sorry. Let me share my screen again. Can you see my screen now? If not, let me see. Oh, okay. Let me share my screen again. Can you see the types of negotiations? Please let me know if you can. No. Oh, really?
Yeah, I can see.
You can see, eh?
Yeah, I can also see.
Okay, someone is saying
I
no.
also can see.
You also can't see. Wow, this is surprising. I don't know why some
It
people...
seems there is a black object on top of the screen.
So it's been taken off. Can you see now?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay, good.
I still can't see. Host.
You still can't see?
Yes.
Wow.
Then I think he can
Let me
leave
leave.
the... Yeah.
Yeah, let me leave and join again. That's right.
Okay, I think that should help.
I think I can see,
Okay.
but the screen is not very clear.
Oh, really? Are you using a phone, laptop? I don't know.
I'm using a phone.
I'm sure. So can you guys see now? Is it clear?
I can see types of negotiations.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah.
Integrative negotiation.
Yes.
Integrative negotiation.
Yes. So now we are going to look at some types of negotiations that comes back to, the encounter we had with Amma and Kofi. You realize that I mentioned that there was some kind of compromise, so and so there was like a win-lose, agreement. So yes, there are some negotiations that end that way. But as I mentioned, I want us to also look at negotiation in a different way where it will always end in a win-win, alternative for both parties. Now, with distributive negotiation, the term distributive means that the object being distributed or shared among the people involved is limited in quantity. So, the resources, so mostly we call it a fixed pie. I think this is using don't split the pie, there are books like that, when you go to Harvard and all that, they call it a fixed pie. Now, we are saying that, so let's see the situation between Israel, which country is fighting with Israel over the piece of land, like the land, I'm trying to remember. So that
Palestinians.
Yes, the Palestinians, they're fighting with Israel over a piece of land. Now, so that piece of land is a fixed pie. Do you understand? So it's either the Palestinians will win that piece of land according to the distributive, negotiation, or the Israelites will win the land. More or less like, so let's see with the Kofi and Amma situation, I want the window open, you want it closed. That is a fixed pie. Do you understand? So it's either we close it or we open it, or probably we uproot it. So that is a fixed pie. So if you see negotiation as, okay, this thing is fixed, it's either I get it or you get it, then it means that probably you might be adopting the distributive negotiations. And and most of the times the tactics or the methods that people use is they manipulate, they force, they withhold information from one another. So it's more or less like they feel like they are against each other. But we'll look at different ways to, attack what problems. Now, the integrative negotiation is described as a win-win, and this is a mindset that I need you to have. And win-win or zero-sum negotiation. In this type of negotiation, that the Palestinians and the Israelites are fighting over, it's just a piece of land. So how can there be a win-win situation? How can there be a win-win? Yeah, they can. That is if they adopt some of the things I'll be sharing with you. That's if they are willing. You see, when it comes to negotiation, it all depends on the willingness of both parties. The primary goal is to achieve the best possible joint results. So you see, you go into the negotiation with that mindset that when it comes to the integrative, with that mindset that, okay, I'm not just going in for myself. So you are open-minded. It's not just about me, but it's also about the other party. Do you understand? But when you're going into a negotiation with the distributive, mindset, it's the whole mindset is just about me. So I just want this window closed no matter what. No open-mindedness. If you go into a negotiation like that, then really you never get to a win-win solution. But if you have the mindset that I am open, we are going to look at options that will best suit all of us, then with that, both of you can come to a win-win situation. But the truth of the matter is that not everyone that you go into negotiations with, and I'm not talking about just formal negotiations, like the window open and close. This can even happen in a work setting. You can be, with your friend, your spouse, these are things that happen each and every day. Okay, I want this, that person says, I don't want that. You will have to negotiate. But you see, the other parties probably might not go through this training. And so they might be, applying distributive, negotiation skills. So they'll try to manipulate, they'll try to force, they'll try to withhold information. But you can do them good if maybe you can share some information with them. Now, please let's mute ourselves. Someone.
Good morning. Where drove it here?
I've muted everyone, but okay. Let me take. Okay, great. So I think now if anyone wants to unmute, I would have to mute the person. If not, there'll be a lot of distractions. So going into negotiations, whenever you're getting into negotiations with people, whether it is formal negotiation, informal negotiation, whenever there is an issue to be resolved and there are parties involved, going with this mindset that both of us must win. And I'm going to share with you how that can be done. We are saying that someone with this mindset goes into this negotiation with that mindset of going to cooperate, exchanging knowledge and problem resolution. These are the dominant strategies in a negotiation like that. Someone in the distributive, they are close-minded. Their whole focus is this must be mine. It has to be win-lose. There's nothing like win-win. Someone in the integrative negotiation has a mindset, okay, I need to win, my other party too needs to win. And I'll be showing you how that will be done. So yes, there are some principles of negotiations. There are some principles of negotiations. Let's look at them. Now, the first thing we are looking at is separate, when you're going into a negotiation or when you're negotiating with someone, separate the people from the problem. So let's take the typical example of Amma needs the window closed, Kofi needs it open. Don't say that ladies are like this. They always want to be troublesome. They always, guys are like this. They always want to be troublesome. No. Separate the problem from the people. Don't attack the people. Attack the problem. Let the other person see that we are not enemies. Do you understand? We are partners that want to find a solution to a common problem. We have a problem. I am not comfortable with the window being open. The other person too, I am not comfortable with it being closed. That is the problem. So don't mix the people with the problem. If you do that, you would, the main issue crowd would dissolve, and now you'll be fighting against each other because you'll be attacking each other's personality, attacking each other. And most of the times when you attack someone, to defend them, by the time you realize you don't get into any solution because you just be fighting one another whilst you leave the problem. So always have this mindset that there is a problem to be solved. Don't bring that person in. See the other person as a friend and not as an enemy. The only common enemy is the problem and not the other person. I hope it is clear. The problem is what you need to get resolved, not the other person. The other thing is focus on interest and not possession. Now, I'm going to talk about the other alternatives you guys could have looked at concerning the Amma and Kofi. So you see, Kofi had a position that I need it open. That is a position. Amma says that I need it closed. That is a position, not an interest. The interest is beneath the position. Do you understand? So I liked it when Kenneth said that there was a question that went in to ask, why do you need it closed? That why will bring out the interest. So you see, if you get to understand the interest of, the other party, then you guys will be, so let's say that Amma wanted close because when it's opened, she, the room becomes very cold, and so she doesn't really like, that temperature. So it's because it gets very cold. That is why she wanted close. Now she wanted it close is a position. But the reason behind that is her interest. Do you understand? Now, Kofi wants it open. That is his position. Why does Kofi want it open? That is his interest. I want it open because maybe I want fresh air. So now the question is, okay, so how can we, make sure that Amma is, positioned at a location where probably when even it's open, she doesn't feel very cold. Do you understand? And also, with Kofi, how can Kofi get his fresh air whilst Amma also gets, a very warm temperature? So if you get to know of the interest, then you'll be able to come up with some solutions that will benefit both parties. And so in the end, it will be win-win. So not necessarily that someone will compromise. Because if they compromise, it's more or less like their problems have not been solved, but they, for the sake of peace, they just say yes, yes, or no, no. But deep down, they are not happy, and probably it can come up again. But if, so, with the issue of Israel and the Palestinians, now, this piece of land, maybe Israel wants us because of their security. Palestinians probably want it because they want to grow something on. There might be, an interest, not the position. Because the position is Israel wants it. The position of Palestinians, we want it. But there is an interest. The main reason why, Israel might need that land might be there. His interest might be different from the interest of Palestine. So if they get to understand, okay, this is my interest, that is your interest. Okay, based on our interest, what can we do? What are the possible solutions? It will amaze. Maybe someone wants to, there is gold beneath, there's resources. The other person to want it because of security and all that. So it's okay. Maybe I can have on top some fence, whatever. Beneath you can take your gold, but these are, these are some of the boundaries you don't exceed and all that. They can come up with a solution that benefits both parties. But this would happen if there is cooperation. If they don't withhold information. So I told you that when it comes to the integrative, negotiation, you don't withhold information, you share freely that, okay, this is my interest. What is your interest? Then we get to know of both parties' interest. And you see, you can adopt this strategy everywhere. Whenever, there is an issue to resolve with two parties and all that, you can just ask, okay, so what is your interest? And that's not your position. Because your position is, okay, maybe I want to close. That's your position. But why? So you get to understand the interest of both parties. Then you'll be able to provide what? Solutions that will benefit both parties. And then we are saying that insist on using objective criteria. When in terms of coming up with a criteria, it should be objective. It shouldn't favor one person. So when you're coming up with some benefit, like we are saying, invent options for mutual gains. So you need to come up with some options, some alternatives that benefit both parties. But you'll be able to come up with alternatives and options and solutions that benefit both parties if you get to understand the interest of both parties. If you get to understand the interest of what? Both parties. So let's really have this is a principle that will help us get integrative word negotiation, a negotiation process that it will be win-win. So let's say you want to buy a property. No, you let me not go into it because there'll be another case study on that. When we come back, I'll share my point of view, so let me not cite that example. So let's look at some things that you need to do before you go into negotiation. So there are some things that you need to do, you know, before you get into a negotiation. And you know, sometimes you see some of these things, you know, demonstrating itself when some, like especially this UTAG and all those guys, when they go in there and they meet the, you know, the government. Now, when you are getting into a negotiation, first establish your best alternative to a negotiated agreement. So I'll really connect this to, you know, going to look for a job. So when we say that partner or the best alternative to a negotiated, you know, agreement, we are saying that you should think about it before you get into negotiation with anyone. That, okay, if this negotiation does not go well, what is my best option? Do you understand? What is my best option if this negotiation fails? Is there any other thing I can consider? Maybe I can ignore these people and jump. So if it's a business, let's say you're going to seek for a contract and then you are going to the table to negotiate on something. You should ask yourself, if this does not go well, what is the best option? So you see that probably if let's say the teachers, UTAG and all those guys, when they go to the table and then it does not go well, they might say, okay, if it's not going well, then our best alternative is to demonstrate. Our best alternative is to do what? Is to go on strike. Do you understand? So you should always have your best alternative. If what you are taking to the table does not work, then you fall on that. And then you should also establish your WATNA, the worst alternative to a negotiated what agreement. That if this negotiation does not go well, what is the worst thing that can ever happen? The worst alternative. Do you understand? So let's say that doctors are going on strike. You know, they go to the table first, they go and negotiate with the government, and then their best alternative is that if this negotiation does not go well, we'll go on strike. The worst alternative can be that if this negotiation does not go well and we go on strike, that is, we adopt our, you know, best alternative, the government can sack all of us. That's the worst, you know, alternative. The government can sack everyone and say, okay, all of you go home. I'm going to bring doctors from Cuba and, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to do this. So you should go into negotiation really looking at all the options you have. Because, you know, in terms of negotiation, and you see, this is key for you, everyone, because you see, you might not know where you find yourself, even in the corporate world, that you have to negotiate on behalf of your business, or you even start your own, you know, business as an entrepreneur, and you have to negotiate with, you know, maybe suppliers, with buyers and all that, and you would have to adopt all these strategies. And with this strategy, we are saying that look at all the possible options. So as when, you know, you see, because sometimes negotiation is like playing chess and all that, you know, you need to know the possible alternatives. And then we are saying that identify your ZUPA, your zone of possible agreements. So, okay, with this negotiation, what is the best thing that I want to accept? Do you understand? So you should know your zone of a possible agreement that, okay, if, you know, it's around this, I think I should be fine with it. So as when you guys are negotiating and then, you know, it's back and forth, it gets to some point, you know, okay, this one I can agree to it, this one I wouldn't agree to it. And if I don't agree to it and the negotiation does not proceed, this is the best option I have, this is the worst option I have. So it's like you are clear in your mind where you are going. And then we are saying that identify your WAP, walk away position. So you see, you should also get to know that, okay, if we get into negotiation and, you know, agreements like this are mentioned, I will just not tolerate it at all. I'll just walk out. Do you understand? I'll just walk out because I don't think that I need that, you know. So you should also identify. So let's say that you're going to look for a job and then you get to that stage where you are talking about the salary and and then the benefit. Going in, you can tell yourself that, okay, I think that if they gave me, let's say a salary of 3,000 and they give me health insurance and if they give me these two things, so that's like a possible agreement. Okay, I would accept, health, but if they tell me they're just giving me salary without health insurance, even if they are adding man 13th grade, I'm not going to accept it. That's like an option that I wouldn't accept at all. I will walk away. Do you understand? So you know what will cause you to walk away and what will. So, the key thing you need probably aside salary is health insurance. So you have it in mind that if they are not willing to insure me and my wife and my kids, I'll walk away. That is your WAP, walk away position. But your ZOPA can be, okay, if they are giving me salary, they are giving me health insurance, and they are not even doing, 13th month, they are not doing bonuses, I'm fine. I think I can consider it. But if they are not doing health insurance, it's a no for me. And you saying no, you should have the alternative. Okay, so what is my best alternative? If I say no to them, the negotiation does not go well, and what do I fall on? How am I going to survive? Do you understand? And what is the worst scenario, if I say no to them? So you have all these in mind. So you go into the negotiation prepared. And it gives you the power to negotiate because you know that if it goes this way, you know what you're going to do. If it goes that way, you know what you're going to do. If it goes that way, you know what you're going to do. So you are prepared and you don't go in there negotiating like timid. And you don't make it seem like they are doing you a favor, but rather you know what you are in for. If you have any question, you can raise your hand. I would allow you to unmute yourself, and then you can ask a question before we proceed. If you have any question. Okay, it doesn't look like no one has raised his hand or her hand, so we would continue. But if you have any question, you can just raise your hand. I'll allow you. So let's look at some steps to the negotiation process. Okay, I see a hand up. Let me see. Imano, let me allow you to unmute yourself. Okay. Yeah, please, you can unmute yourself now. Yeah,
Hello.
Yeah, Imano,
Hello.
we can hear you.
Yeah, I can. So consider like looking at what you were saying, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was also looking at, let's say there's an offer that they have already laid down the conditions. Okay. Can you hear me?
Your line is breaking. I don't know if it's from my end or I don't know. Is it possible? Okay, it looks like it's my internet.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah, hello, Nimano. Yeah, I think I can hear you now.
So let's say there's an advertisement, they want a salesperson, okay?
Yeah.
And they have their salary range or the salary they are opting to give, and then the conditions.
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe with number of years of experience. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have those requisite experience and then all the requirements.
Yeah.
But probably you see yourself that you are way above the
salary range.
Exactly, and then the conditions.
Yeah.
Is it also cool to maybe apply, go there, and then negotiate? I don't know whether you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it.
So like I said,
yeah.
Yes. So if you get me.
Yeah. So you see, Emmanuel, yeah. You can go through the process. That is the first thing. I quite remember I landed a job And then when it got to the salary bits, there was this back and money are requesting for this kind of role, like they told me they don't pay the amount of money. And so finally what they had to do was they had to create a new role for me, a new title, and then they had to pay me what I was requesting for. Do you understand? So you can go through the process. When you go through the process, they get to know of your value and they think that this is someone that we really want to bring on board. Though, there'll be some bargain, there'll be some negotiations, there'll be some back and forth. But if you don't go through the process, you can't just go and negotiate. Do you understand? But you can go through the process, you get to know that this is the best fit. This is the person we are looking for, but it looks like this amount of money. So the question will be, okay, what can we do? Maybe we have an organizational structure. So I think the organization I'm talking about, they had a structure that they were like, okay, this role requires this amount of money. Do you understand? But because we really need this person and this person is asking for this, then it means we'll have to create another role with a different, title, and then we'll be able to pay the person that amount of money. Do you understand?
Yes, I get.
Yeah.
So it's just all about knowing your value and being able to bargain it out.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. Exactly. So, but you first have to go through the process. When it comes to job, you go through the process, at least let them know, yeah, you have what it takes. And then you can bargain with them on the terms and conditions. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so steps to the negotiation process. First stage is preparation and planning. At the end of this, we are going to watch some short video, and we'll come back and discuss it. And it touches on all this. So we are saying that this is the negotiation strategy stage. You adequately prepare. Planning is vital in this stage to ensure the negotiation ends with a favorable outcome. So there is a stage where you strategize, what you're going to say and how you're going about it. You identify your worst alternative, your best alternative, the alternative you are going to accept, the alternative you are going to walk away. So this is a stage you get to understand all that, and also you get to understand the person you're going to negotiate, going into the negotiation with. You don't just plan for yourself, but you get to understand the other party too. So let's say you want to like the job scenario, you can even ask around. Okay, so you can go online, check, you can try to reach out to some people in the organization. You can try something, try and get some information about them. In Africa, it's difficult to find informations like that, but you can still try and see if you can find any. If you don't find any, that is fine. Do you understand? But you can try and see if you can find. Just try to understand the other person you're going to engage with. So let's say you want to buy a property, a land, you can find out, or even if it's a minor case, like let's say even the AMA and then the Kofi instance, you can find out from people. That's if you don't know the person. If you know the person, it means you have idea about the person. Do you understand? So you know that, hey, this person there, they don't compromise, or this person, they don't do this, they don't share, so and then it will help you know how you go about the negotiation with the person. But if you don't know anything about the other party, it is not really good. But sometimes in some scenarios, you can't do anything about it. Let's say you want to buy a land from someone, you can ask around. Sometimes you might not find any information. So you go in prepared yourself, you get prepared, and then you get in. But we are saying that preparation is key when you are going into negotiations. It's very key. And then there should be some definition of, ground rules. So these are like so some of the processes doesn't work in the in every setting, but it can also work in every setting. So let's say that the issue about AMA and Kofi, I want the window closed, I want the window open. You can say, okay, with our ground rules, we are not going to attack each other. we want to find a solution to this problem. We are not going to attack each other, and we are going to come up with a solution that works for both of us. So you guys can just set some ground rules. Do you understand? So okay, maybe we are going to get a third party involved who is going, so both of you can agree on something that works for both of you. Do you understand? So yeah, informal negotiations where maybe countries, companies, these are done. But when it comes to like the daily stuff, like you go to Cantamanto and then you're going to buy some pair of trousers and all that, there's no need, you don't even have the time to be agreeing on the ground rules. Do you understand? But also you can also even use preparation by asking questions. Okay, so when you go to Cantamanto, how do you go about it? So you ask people who have been there, you ask questions. Okay, so maybe they'll show you that, okay, that place, they'll double the price, or based on how you dress, they will mention the price. So you find information. So as when you get there and then the person says 10 cedis, based on the information, maybe they told you that mostly they tell you 10 cedis as 5 cedis, but they'll double it, so so if you want to start negotiating with them, say, okay, I'll give you 5 cedis. So 5 cedis is too low. Or you can say, okay, I'll give you 4 cedis for this. So it's too low, come up. Then you ask, okay, how much, So because you did the preparation and the planning, you got to understand the kind of people you are going to engage. It will give you a fair idea as to how to engage them. So these, steps or processes can be used everywhere. I know someone will be thinking, how practical is this? These are very practical. Do you understand? So you prepare, you plan, you ask questions, get to know. So if, you are going to buy from Cantamanto, as I said, you find information about them. When you get there, you might not establish ground rules because you say, okay, start your conversation, we are going to do that bit might not happen. So some portions of it might not be applicable to every situation. Do you understand? But you should have a fair idea, so as when you encounter any issue that needs negotiation, the steps that are applicable and the ones that are not applicable. But the number one is always applicable: the preparation and the planning. Justification and clarification after the exchange of initial position. So when we talk about the position, like let's say you meet someone at Cantamanto, you guys a piece of you want to buy a pair of trousers. He says that my position, okay, so I'm taking 10 cedis. And you say, okay, I'm giving this amount of money, so you talk about your position, that always that is the position. Do you understand? And not the interest. But you can go further. Oh, okay, so why 10 cedis? Why won't you go down? Then so that they can share their, interest that, hey, I bought this 10 for 7 cedis. My profit is just 1 cedi. Do you understand? So I can't do so if you get to understand, like, okay, now I know your interest. If the 10 is 5 cedis and your profit is 1 cedi, then probably let's divide your profit by, you can then engage the person and say, okay, that's fine. You, instead of the 8 cedis, let's do the 7 cedi, 50 pesos. But if you don't get to understand their interest and you just base your argument on the position, because that is 8 cedis, you are saying as you give 4 cedis, and then because he's not willing to take it because you don't even know his interest, and so you just decide to walk away, then that will be it. So we are saying that you need to exchange, the position, clarification, justification. So you ask questions. Okay, so why are you standing? Why have you taken this posture? Why this position? What is your interest? So at this stage, parties enlighten one another about their position or interest, and they learn how the other person feels about their viewpoint. Do you understand? So you get to understand why that position. You get to understand their interest. Then you begin to bargain, and problem solving comes in. So you see, it's critical. We did problem solving last week, and today we are doing negotiation. Because if we're doing negotiation today, and then problem solving, probably like we were doing negotiation last week and problem solving today, it might not really have fitted in well, but you know a lot about problem solving. So after you get to understand your interest, then problem solving skills come in. This is the most critical and crucial part of the process. how do we solve this problem? Do you understand? Okay, so this is your interest, this is my interest. So then Missy or Simi, what are the possible solutions that will satisfy your interest and also satisfy my interest? And we come up with solutions with the mindset that we are not enemies. We are friends with a common problem and we want it resolved. Because if you go in there as two enemies, the results will be different, because each one of you will be coming in that I want to win and I want to see you lose. And so, you might not come up with alternatives that will satisfy both parties. But if you come in that, I have a problem, you also have a problem, how do we solve it? Then you have the win-win solution. So the primary aim of this step is to develop a solution that is beneficial to all parties. All parties, a win-win solution. And then closure and implementation. Once a consensus has been made, mechanism for implementing and monitoring the agreement, provisional terms and conditions are then developed. It can be written contract or any form. So, when you come up with, the alternatives and you agree on what works for both of you, then you implement. It can be written, that's if it's in a formal negotiation. Do you understand? But if it's an informal negotiation, it might not necessarily like the window being closed and open. That's an informal, negotiation. So we don't have to go and write it on paper that, okay, we have agreed. No, you just implement whatever you guys agreed on based on your interest. So maybe Amma will have to shift her position and probably sit in the corner or sit somewhere, that will, serve her interest. And then Kofi can also open the window and enjoy his fresh air. Do you understand? Okay, so any question before we watch this video? From the video, any lessons would like to share? What lessons did you pick from this video? Anyone? Yeah, Imano.
Well, what I learned from Michael is he looked at a long term goal, not a short term, not like just getting the cake and having it. I mean, eating it, but eating it and still having it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Kenneth.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so I also saw that both parties did their research on each other.
Yeah.
They did a very good research. They saw each other's weaknesses and strengths before they came to the negotiation table.
Yeah. And you realize that he played a key role in the negotiation, right?
Yes, sir. A very big role.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Juliet, please share.
I also noticed that there was confidence, and even if they were desperate, they didn't show it. They didn't seem desperate, and that was what made it look like they had value or they had something to offer. In as much as the employer wants them, they also recognize that they have that value, and they didn't want to seem desperate.
Yeah, that's true. True, Juliet. As we go for the wrong deal or a bad deal because you are desperate, so you go in there and get a job, you are unable, you are even scared of, trying to negotiate because you feel like, hey, what if I lose it totally, so because out of desperation, but I realized that they were confident, they were, but this is also based on I'm sure they did their own analysis, as I shared with you, the best alternative, the worst alternative, the place they are willing to, reach an agreement, and the place they are willing to walk away. Do you understand? So they did their own, preparation, and so they knew what they were after. So, as you said, Juliet, it gave them that level of confidence, because I'm sure that because they did their own background, where they realized if these people even decide not to buy, probably the best alternative is good, the worst alternative is not that bad. Do you understand? So yes, they needed the money. You can imagine when they made the 60,000 for their faces, like, woo, this is a good deal. Do you understand? This is a good deal, what they were expecting, but also they had a goal in mind that it's not just about the money. So, yes, our best option is it's not the money. Yeah, Libo, is it Libo? Yeah, Libo, please share.
Yeah, I wanted to actually ask a question as I try to answer also your
Please go
question.
ahead. Please go
Yeah,
ahead.
I saw the scenario where he tried to tell the boss, the white guy, that he wanted to sack the black guy. But I realized that that
Yeah,
was not what he actually wants. But it was part of
yeah,
how he will introduce his own
people.
deal to the table.
Yeah,
Please, can you
yeah.
hear me?
Yeah, we can
So
hear
I want
you.
to know.
Yeah.
I want to know how does this form part of the negotiation? And to me, it was a really beautiful tactic that he used there.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
it was. Thank you very much, Selibo. Yeah, you are very observant. So yes, he did that because one, you see, I believe he did his research and he realized that one, you see, the other party was desperate. So as I mentioned, you don't have to go into negotiations desperate. The other party, the white guy, was desperate. Do you understand? And they realized it, so they used it to his disadvantage. So then he said, and they also, I'm sure, did their background check and realized maybe this is backbone. This is someone who is really like, supporting him. So he's like, okay, yeah, I want to stay. I want this job, even though you are buying our company, but I still want to work in here. And I don't like the guy sitting by you. So for us to sell our company to you, sack him. And it's like, no, I can't sack this guy. It's my backbone. I said, okay, if you're not going to sack him, then I want to keep my two people. Do you understand? So he used one, his desperation against him, and he also did his background check and realized, no, this person is a key person. He wouldn't be willing. So it's like he's trying to communicate back to him that if this person is key to you, these people are also key to me. So it was like that comparison word tactics that, hey, this guy is important to you. These people are important to me. I don't know if I've answered your questions, Libo.
Yeah, you have answered my question. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
You're welcome. So you see, it all
I will
goes.
also I want to add something small. What I observed with the video we just saw was the level of confidence and value, especially when it's employer-employee relationships. A lot of times, most employees don't even recognize their value, what they are bringing on board, or how they're going to contribute to the whole superstructure of the organization, or their financial, how they will help the organization accomplish their financial goals. That I'm going to make big money from this organization, they're going to pay me. So in negotiations, I think that having the right value system, irrespective of the type of negotiation you are into, having the right value system is very important, because if you belittle yourself, you always do that in the negotiation. For instance, if you go to Cantonment to go and buy a shirt, one of the key things those experienced traders look at is your eye contact, your confidence, and your the way you communicate. Like some people are so exhibit so much poverty that they sound beggarly, as if the people have to help them patch up one car. I hope you understand. But if you are buying something and you sound confident, knowing that you are bringing money to the trader, they respect you more. You're able to get a good bargain. So that's what I would say.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for sharing. Yeah, that's true. So yeah. So Emmanuel, yes, yes. Is there a rule like never accept the first offer? Yes, and there is a rule. There are a lot of tactics and strategies. that people use, and that is it. So it's assumed. You see, I'll be touching about some tactics, and I'll talk about it in the next, slides. I'll be talking about some tactics, and some people, mention a very high or low, alternative and all that, and there's a rationale behind it. So yes, in the next slides, I'll talk about some tactics. So coming back to what, Pastor Charles was saying, yeah, it's true. So you need to know what you have. You realize in the video that, the moment you show desperation, you will lose. You will lose out on the bargain. The moment you show desperation, do you understand? Because you become emotional. So that is why sometimes it is important that if the case is about you, you get someone to do it on your behalf. Because if it's about you, let's say the issue is about you and you are directly involved, there's that tendency of you becoming emotional. And so, there might be an offer that is not very good, but because you feel like, Charlie, this is the best. Meanwhile, you could get more. I wish I could have shown some video of a young lady that negotiated with an adult, and then she was like, you have to pay me. At the end of the negotiation, the adult felt he had outsmarted the lady. But then the lady was like, so he said that I could have offered $500. So the lady was requesting for $500 to act in a movie, but I think they got to $300. And so when they shook hands, the man was like, I could have offered $500. And the lady also said, yeah, I could have even done this for free because I'll gain experience and all that. So the man thought he won, but rather the lady won because really, to her, the best option would have just been to do it so that she can add it to her CV. But she got that and also got extra $300. Do you understand? So when you show that sense of desperation, then people will use it against you. But if you show your value, you project your value based on the situation, so if you are selling a property, depending on where you are standing, you show value. So if you are the property owner, you show value. If you are the one buying, you also let the person know that, I'm giving you value for buying. So it depends on where you are standing, but you should always project value and not desperation. So let's look at some tactics so we have the high ball and then the low ball. The high ball and the low ball. The high ball or low ball tactics is one of the oldest, hardball moves in the book. Your counterpart will open with the extreme high. So, that is why mostly they say don't accept the first offer. It's a strategy that most, especially in the formal, negotiations. And if you go to Harvard and all those things, they teach you some of those stuff, because your counterpart to open with an extremely high or low offer, which they will hope will force you to reconsider your resistance to a point.
Hello.
If you haven't done your research. So yeah. Who? Okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Kurika. Please feel free.
Please, I would like to add something.
Please do. Please, your name. I want to mention your name, right? But is it Kuraka?
Oh, my name. So please, with a young lady's issue, she's looking for experience. So let's say about the value issue. She knows she's not competent. She's just looking for something to make her competent. And she's please, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm listening to you. Yeah, please go ahead.
Oh. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello.
I don't know. It looks like she can't hear you. Please go ahead. Oh, it looks like we lost her. Oh, okay, so please, I think maybe you can position yourself well and come back. But I think she was asking about so not that the young lady didn't have the competence. She did, but sometimes you might know how to do something, but you don't get the opportunity to do it. Do you understand? So it looks like she had very little experience. And sometimes you need certain things to put on your CV. I've done this, I've done that,
Hello.
Yeah.
Please, can you?
Okay, good. So please ask the question. Yeah.
So please, let's say you are a young graduate and you've been offered a job, and during the negotiation, you settle to the lowest because you don't really know what you are going, like you don't know the job, you're not competent enough to say that, okay, that value thing that you're talking about, like I have the value, you have to pay me this in order to get that. You yourself, you are not that you are not confident. The truth is you don't really know. So I don't know, how can you still negotiate is it okay to still negotiate to get that high when you know you can't also deliver to that extent?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. So yes, so comparing it to, like, a young graduate who probably is looking for a job, you've been offered some job, now it all depends on what you want to get from it. Someone will be willing to do it for free. Do you understand? So it all depends on your best alternatives and your worst alternatives. So is it that you are willing to do it for free? If you are willing to do it for free because you think that in the future it will bring some value to you, because let's say you go to Talo Oil, you're an engineer, and then you tell them, okay, I am willing to do this thing, or you don't even tell them. You go there and say, okay, I want to do internship with you, and then they're like, okay, if you do internship with us, we'll only pay you 200 cedis. Do you understand? Now, in your mind, probably you even wish you could have done it for free, because you know that you can put it on your CV that I've worked with Talo and all that. So that 200 cedis will even be a good return for you. Do you understand? Because in your mind, you could have even done it for free. Do you understand? So it all depends on what you want to get from it. And then also, that would be juxtaposed against the value that you can offer. Do you understand? So you know that, okay, with this little girl, she was confident. I don't know if I should show that video. It's less than 1 minute. She was confident. So I think I should. Let me share this video. Any lessons from this short video? I don't know if you understood it. Any lessons? This was a very short one. Yeah.
Yes, I think both had a goal, a set goal.
Yeah.
As the employer was saying, would have done it for 500. That means 500 was his maybe ultimate. He's not ready to go above 500, or that's what he's ready to offer. And he did a bargain and got a cheaper offer. And the lady also had a goal that, fine, I'm also going. I need experience. I need exposure. I need that. So even if I get this amount of money in addition to what I'm going to get, I'm in. So in negotiation, setting goals is very important.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much. I think, Kenneth, you raised your hand too.
Yes, I did, but it seems my colleague has said what I wanted to say.
Okay.
They both
Please repeat it. Please repeat it so that we all learn. I want to hear what I said in your voice too, so that I can also learn.
Oh, just as you said, they both knew what they were coming for. And fortunately for them, they both got what they wanted. The man actually thought he had cheated the lady, but the young girl actually got what she wanted.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think Stella too unmuted. Stella, you can also go for it.
Yeah, when it comes to the negotiation table, I mean, you look for your best interests. I'm not saying this because I'm selfish, because everybody's looking for their interests. And why not go for both ways? I mean, you can get paid and get the experience. If you sell yourself short, if you sell your experience.
Yeah.
So don't sell yourself short. Don't sell yourself short at the negotiation table, else you're gonna lose every time.
Every time, yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. So you realize that, I think both of them, especially the man, thought he had cheated the young lady. but he didn't know she also got so much value because she was willing to just offer it for free. But instead she got, but you see that level of confidence. So, that's what we said, that you need to project, like you need to know what you have. You need to be you shouldn't be desperate. You lose out when you sound desperate, when so when the person feels like, well, I can take advantage of this because if I don't give you anything even, it looks like you are very desperate and you cry, So don't show your desperation. Even if you are desperate, don't show it. Be confident. Go in for what you want. Have all the alternative that you think you need, like concerning the worst, the best, the alternative that you agree to, the alternative that you walk away. Have all that in place and never be desperate. Desperation shouldn't be part when you are, around the table and then you are engaging in the process of negotiation. So the first tactics, yes, please.
Say, I have a question.
Please go ahead.
Say, so please, what if during the negotiation there is a competition? Let's say you're not the only one going for that job. There are other people also going for the same thing. What do you do about that?
Okay. So there is competition in terms of job. Now, when it comes to, when it comes to a job, there are other people who are also looking for the job, but most of the times employers would settle on, let's say, like 2 or 3 people, but there is the main person. So if they come to you, like you go through the whole process, mostly the salary thing is more or less like the last thing they do. That's like when they want to bring you on board. The one they ask you in the interview, how much would you want to take and all that, that one is just formality. Do you understand? But when they go through the whole process and they realize that, okay, we want to settle on AMA, that is when, they'll give you the offer that, okay, we have settled on you. This is the offer. Do you understand? So when you get there, you shouldn't be desperate. Look at the offer. If it is not good, you can send an email to the HR. Maybe I want us to, talk about this. Some of them will want you to talk about it on phone. Some of them will want you to come to the office, but you should be able to go back to them and say that, no, I think that, you have to up this for me based on this and that and that. Do you understand? So maybe, currently, even in my role now, I'm even taking more than what you're offering me. So I'm not willing to take this. And, so you let them know their value. You let them know that, hey, if you guys are not willing to, pay this, then I'm not coming. If they also know that really, like, from the first video we watched, they realize that, no, this is a business that we need to buy, we need to acquire. So we wouldn't let it go that easily. Do you understand? So they might come up and say that, okay, if the salary is too small, maybe we want to add 500 cedis, we want to add 1,000. So there will be that bargain. So you shouldn't be desperate, thinking that other people are involved and so, I am going to sell myself cheap. No. Immediately they settle on you that we are giving you an offer, it means that you came top. So mostly they will go to the second person if the first person does not accept the offer or what the first person is proposing, they are not able to do it. Then they'll look at the second option and say, okay, maybe there was another very good person, so let's reach out to that person. Do you understand? So never sell yourself cheap. Never be desperate. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, sometimes some people
can I add something to
yes.
Yes. Yeah. I think I will look at it from I'll use this example. Cocoa. Let's use cocoa as an example. Côte d'Ivoire produces cocoa, Ghana produces cocoa. And the major end users of the cocoa are Europeans and Americans who have the factories to process cocoa into butter, soup, creams, soap, and they have a lot of uses for it. So they need more cocoa than us. Now, when Ghana goes to the negotiating table, this is where they cheat us as Africans because of we don't know our value. We go, they will tell us we want to buy the cocoa at this amount per bag. Please, you understand? Then because Côte d'Ivoire also produces and other people also produces, if you are not ready, we'll buy it from Côte d'Ivoire at a cheaper price or at the price that we want. And because we don't have value, we don't add value to ourselves and we don't add value to whatever we produce, we always end up getting peanuts and they getting it all the time. So sometimes when you're an employer, you need to really understand your value system, not just money. When you talk about value system, you should go above money, because a lot of people value system is defined by money. Okay, I'm a graduate, so I'm expecting between this range, but not it limits you. But when you understand what you can bring on board, as in your personality, your skills, your talents, extra curricular issues which will aid in the progress and the progress of the business and all that, it makes you confident in the negotiation. Because I personally, when I'm negotiating, I know that I'm a whole person. Apart from the skills I'll bring to the work, my personality, my spirituality, and other things which I know have a ripple effect on the organization. So that's what I'll add to. So confidence is very important, and our value system should also be strong.
Sure.
Thank you.
So yeah, so thank you very much for sharing. Yeah, and you know, you need to demonstrate, and you see, most of the times you demonstrate this values when you're going through the process, like you go through an interview, the way you answer questions, the way you show them that, hey, this is the person that we need, and that gives you the power to, I started an example about when I got one job and I had to, tell them, hey, I'm not coming. And it was a back and forth issue. So they requested I come see the country manager. And then he told me point blank, you are the person we are looking for. And so, they had to work on so you see, when you're going through the process, you're going through the interview process, you really demonstrate to them that I know, the job, I can do the job, and you have to pay me good to do the job. Do you understand? So you demonstrate this value, you demonstrate this competence, you let them know that truly you are the man. Like the first video, they demonstrated that, our business will you want. So you also have to give us what we want. So you need to let people know your value, and then they'll be willing to, if not even meeting your, whatever you want them to, the alternatives, they will come close. And probably they'll fall within what you're looking for. If they don't fall within what you're looking for, you should have that plan of also walking away. You should have that plan. You shouldn't be desperate. Because if they find out that you are desperate to accept anything, yeah, they'll throw, stuff at you, and they know you have no option. You just accept it. So you shouldn't be desperate. So thank you very much for sharing to Pastor Charles. So if, so with this high ball and low ball, most of the times people will either bring in the very high option or very low option, and they just want to test you. So if you haven't done your research or you're not aware of what is happening, you may fall for it. Do you understand? So like, knowing your value, you don't even know what the market is when it comes to a job and then salary. You don't even know what competitors are paying for that same job. And then they offer you, maybe competitors are paying 10,000, but they offer you, let's say, 3,000 or 4,000, because you don't know, you might fall for it. Do you understand? So you need to do your own research, Yeah, as I said, in Ghana, sometimes some of the information you might not find it. But in the Western world, when you go to, I think, Glass, whatever, they provide a lot of information about salaries and all that, So you just need to do your research, so as when you're going to the table, you know what you're going in for. The best scenario is to navigate these scenarios. It's called what? To call out the offer, and refuse to continue unless they're willing to take you seriously. So you realize that in the negotiation, the guy told them that, hey, we don't want to even hear your first offer because your first offer might be useless. Like, we are serious here. So you have to insist on a more reasonable opening offer rather than just trying to counter, so you shouldn't start, where like you're trying to counter whatever they say. No, you should let them start from a very reasonable one. Then you guys can take it out. So don't worry, I'll be sharing the slides with you. It's almost off, so that's what I'm trying to just rush through quickly. So the next strategy is snow job. A snow job is particularly common tactic. So this is to just let you understand. Do you understand? So if you are, negotiating with someone, and then the person is demonstrating some of these tactics, you just get to know what they are doing. Do you understand? So this is just to give you a fair idea of some tactics that people use for you to understand. So as when you see it, you see that, okay, this is it. So a snowball is particularly common tactics designed to confuse and distract you. It happens when the other party reveals a lot of information. So this time around, we are seeing that this person will give you a lot of information. They will overwhelm you with facts and figures. And when you're on the receiving end of a snow job, your biggest challenge is to determine what is truly important. So it depends on the situation. Some negotiations, they'll give you a lot of information that are not relevant, But, in handling this, we say that you always have to ask them, what is the most important information in all that you are sharing? And sometimes it also features very technical languages, it requires expertise. They just want to confuse you. Do you understand? So you might meet some people and they are mentioning some jargons and all that. They are just trying to confuse you. You tell them, hey, let's just be plain. Let's calm down. Just say it in plain language. Be brief, So these are tactics that people use. The key is not to agree to anything. And you see, sometimes they use some of these things to box you. You get to agree on everything. And by the time you realize they're using it against you, they tell you, yeah, you agree to it. Do you understand? So make sure that you always come to the minimum. Like, what is the simplest? What do you want to say? Don't box me and this with a lot of information. And sometimes people do this, especially in the informal, negotiations. People do this. And then lack of authority. One thing you shouldn't do is to, let's say you're going to buy something. Let me cite that example. You're going to buy something and then you go in there and you go and negotiate with someone who does not have authority. So the person you are negotiating with can't change anything. It's a waste of time. And sometimes people use this. So instead of they coming to meet you to, reach an agreement with you, they send other people. So the other party is banking on the hopes that these tactics will drain you and your willpower. And they hope that by the fifth time they have, had to check with their superiors, you come down from your position, so kind of like if you say anything, they tell you, okay, let me go and talk to my boss, I'll come back. It is just a waste of time. Most of the time, all the time when you are negotiating, make sure that you are negotiating with the final authority. This is the person that is going to take the decision. Do you understand? So if it's like a job, engage the main HR, the HR manager, that, okay, because if you're engaging with like the HR officer, probably they might not have the finances, so they'll tell you, okay, we'll go back and okay, I think my internet dropped, but I'm back. We are almost, and then so engage the final authority and not I don't know if you heard that. So I'm going to break us into another group again. We're just going to do this within 4 minutes. And then we'll end. We'll just do this within 4 minutes. So I'm sure by 12:10, I'm sorry it exceeded 12, by 12:10 we should end. So this is the case. A landowner is selling a piece of land for 40,000 Ghana cedis. The buyer wants the landowner to reduce the price by 5% or give the buyer flexible terms of payment. So there's a land to be sold. I'm selling it for 40,000. But the buyer is saying that, okay, I will buy it, but reduce it, by 5%, or give me some flexible terms of payment, for me to pay. One will be the buyer, one will be the landowner, or people negotiating on their behalf. Come up with a win-win alternative that, okay, you want to buy it for 40,000. Okay, the options are 5%. Maybe the owner might not be very interested in that 5% because he needs all the 40,000. Or he might not be interested in the option that the buyer is giving us to flexible payments because maybe he needs to get something immediately, and all that. So this is a real life situation. So two parties in a group come up with a win-win, alternative or solution that will help both parties, with in mind all that you've learned today. Do you understand? And also consider that so you guys have the final authority to take decisions. So not like, okay, since I am doing this on behalf of the landowner, I have to go and ask him whether he will accept or not. Let's assume that any decision that you take on behalf of the landowner or the buyer is acceptable. So we are going into our breakout groups. Any question on this before we get into the breakout groups? Okay, it looks like there are no questions. So, okay, so I'm creating the groups now. So let's please join in. Let's join in, Okay, it looks like everyone is back. So let's share. Heidi go. Let's share quickly so as we can. That's the last thing we'll do, and after we'll ask. If you have any questions, you can ask. Then we can end it for today. So Heidi go. Were you able to come up with some win-win solutions? Yeah. Okay, Kenneth. Yeah.
Okay, sir. I had Sir Libo as my group member.
Okay.
I was the landowner and he was the buyer.
Okay.
So initially, I wanted to sell my land at 40,000, and he came on with a new proposal to sell the land to him with a 5% discount.
Yeah.
Yes, so that would be 38,000. I tried asking him to, or we tried agreeing on reducing the 5% because I cannot take that much loss.
Okay.
We started with, I think, 4%, and he said he can't do that. And then finally we ended up on 2.5%.
Okay.
So instead of 2,000 off, we'll be taking 1,000 off.
Okay.
And with that one too, he said fine, but then he still cannot pay everything. So then I suggested that if he has the 38,000 on him now, fine, I'll take it now. But then we will enter into a contract.
Okay.
After a period of time, he will add up the remaining 2.5%. That's 1,000 cedis.
Okay.
So he asked me the span that I should give him to raise up that funds. And I gave him a month, considering we are paid on monthly basis. And he told me it cannot happen because of certain circumstances. So I asked him to bring his proposal on board, and he says 6 months, but 6 months was too much for me. So I also counted it with 4 months, and we came to an agreement for him to pay it within 4 months.
4 months. Okay. Okay. Wow. Yeah. So that was a win-win agreement. Wow. Thanks so much for sharing, Kenneth. And good job, Kenneth, and then Libo. Great. So any other team, would any other team want to share how it went in their groups? Okay, Stella.
Okay, so my partner was Jennifer. So we're saying that, okay, so I didn't catch on earlier about the amount of money. So assuming the land is 4,000.
Yeah.
And 5% is 200, so for 3,008.
Yeah.
So I was telling Jennifer that, okay, flexible payments, you know, I am selling something, you need it, and I need the money. Probably I need the money for something else, for a purpose. So if money loses its value on time, so flexible payments will not be advisable. Okay, but if you have the 3,800 cash, you can bring on, but we worked on the 5%, okay, because flexible payments won't help, and it will be a liability to hold on. Maybe after 6 months, that there will be no value. The value of 4,000 will decrease. It won't be the same money. Okay, money decreases after time. Okay, so we agreed on a 5% discount.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Great. Thank you so much for sharing. But this example, and it's like it's a typical life story where most of the times when you're going to buy something, you're either asking for discount, or maybe it's very expensive, some flexible forms of payment. And so, as I mentioned, the other party might not be privy to the idea of, okay, let's create a win-win, situation for both of us. But you can facilitate that process, so you can be like, yeah, I'm buying this land because this is my interest, or I want to pay flexible because this, that, so you provide information. If the person is also interested in in you and interested in what you're doing, and they are not going on that tangent of distributive, negotiation. They will also be like, yeah, I also need the money because maybe I have to go and pay my children's school fees. So if the person mentioned, okay, I have to go and pay my children's school fees, so I need the money, probably might not be the whole 40,000. They just need like some 10,000 to pay their kids' school fees, and probably they look at how they are going to use the other 30,000, whether they are going to invest or, whatever. So then you can, okay, so if the main interest is maybe 10,000 for your children's school fees, then maybe I can pay the upfront 10,000, and then, the remaining whatever, maybe I can add some small, whatever. So, you get to understand each other's, interest, and then to really, enhance the conversation, and it will bring you guys to a place where both of you will benefit. So yes, this is the end of our session today on negotiations. If you have any question, you can ask. If you have any question, you can ask. If not, then we're coming to a close. So any questions? Okay. So it doesn't look like there are questions. People are quiet. So
Yes,
I'll
sir.
say that. Okay, yeah. Let me see the name. Juliet, Juliet, please go ahead.
So going back to the very first video,
yeah,
I realized, I also noticed that the white man said that your company has no value, and the Michael accepted it. He accepted it up front that yes, my company has no value, but then when it fails, I can start over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I'm linking it to that saying that that thing they say that you cannot shame the shameless.
Yeah.
Where you are down bad, then nothing can surprise you again. But then is it advisable to use that tactics? Accepting that you are the zero position, but then even though there is hope for you, but then like Mewafem, you cannot do anything to me again. Is it advisable to always go into a negotiation with
so
that?
Thank you very much, Juliet. Yeah, okay, Kenneth. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I chip in? Can I answer?
Please do.
Okay, Juliet, when I watched the video, what I realized is Michael's company did a very good research background on the opponent party. So they also knew that the other party was also in dire need of their services.
Yeah.
That is why they were so confident. So that is the only thing that saved them, because they did their research and knew the other company too had everything to lose if they didn't get their services.
Thanks, Kenneth, for sharing. So yes, you see, what should come to mind is the other party was showing desperation, and if their company truly didn't have any value, why do you want to acquire us? Do you understand? So he was like, yeah, me, I'm not desperate. If we even say we don't have value, I'm not desperate. Do you understand? So yeah, I said whatever, but this is what I want. So if you think I don't have any value, then go away. But if I have some value that you need, then provide me with what you know. So Julia, do you get it? So it was just a posture that I'm not desperate. You can say whatever you want to say, but I'm not desperate. Do you understand? You need me, and so you have to, play according to my rules.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was a good, observation. That was a very good. I'll share the slides with you, so I'm sure I'll include the 1 minute one to the one with the lady. I'll include that one in the slides for you guys. Okay, so if there are no more questions, then I'll say thank you all to all of you for coming onto this call. Myself and then my team, the BLC team, we are happy to have all of you on this call, and we encourage all of you to, go and subscribe to our pages, and, our social media platforms, and also our YouTube platform, and also when I share the evaluation forms with you, please do make some time and fill it out, because we really need to know how we can improve whatever we are doing. Do you understand? So it's good for us if you guys, take some few minutes. It doesn't take a lot of time, just like 2 minutes, you should be done with the evaluation form. So fill out the evaluation forms for us and really appreciate it. The last I also mentioned that, and we'll be glad if you guys can, just take a 1-minute video of yourself. I joined, the Soft Skills Academy organized by BLC, and I learned this, that, so just a short video of yourself, talking about what you learned. Post it on your social media platform and tag us. We are on Instagram, we are on LinkedIn, we are on Facebook, Twitter. The only place we are not on is TikTok. But all the other social media platforms, we are there. So just tag us, we'll be excited to see videos like that, share testimonials that, hey, I learned this, I was able to apply this at work. We'll be so glad to see videos like that, and we are looking at scaling up these trainings and going into next year. Every month to be organizing some form of soft skills trainings to help, the young people that are coming, because if you check statistics, it's pointing towards that direction, that soft skills will be more relevant and more needed, getting into the era of robotics, where we are developing AI and robots. You will need, soft skills like, some problem solving, communication, negotiations, presentation skills, listening skills, customer service. These are soft skills, that robots cannot necessarily portray, because a robot, might not be able to show empathy. Empathy as, a soft skill. We'll be touching on it next year. A robot cannot show empathy. They will try, but, it will take a human being. So there are a lot of things that humans will still be needed to do, and most of them are soft skills related. So BLC is looking at equipping, the next generation, like in Ghana and Africa, with that skill, so as we all get prepared for the future. And so stay connected and, take care of yourself. We'll meet next week, and next week we are going to touch on leadership. It's a topic that is dear on my heart. So we're going to touch on leadership, and I believe that, you enjoy the session and you also learn a lot from it. So, and without any other question or any other issue, then I'll say that bye-bye to all of you and take care.
Bye-bye. Thanks for your services.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, you too.